this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is the Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart, episode by episode, the Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a rewatch podcast. We'll always bring up spoilers for any episode in the future.
Yeah, I think a lot will come up in this episode. This week, we're talking about Season 3, Episode 6, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
First day of senior year. Lots going on.
Yeah, it's such an iconic, like, back-to-school episode,
yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And you kind of forget how much you like the school aspect of Vampire Diaries until it comes back like this. And you're like, oh, man, we haven't had this for, like, 5 episodes. So
I know.
It's nice to get it again.
Yeah, it's been too long without school.
Yeah.
Even though they never go anyway. But,
yeah.
But getting ready for school, we see Elena's at her house. She's, like, laying awake in her bed.
Yeah, it's still dark out.
Yeah, it's still dark. And then her alarm goes off. So she was obviously,
can't sleep.
Restless, can't sleep. And we see her clock says it's 11.
5:15. 5:15. Crazy
5:15.
early.
Yeah. And she gets up. She, like, turns on the lights. And she goes over to, like, her dresser where the mirror is. And she looks at the bite mark on her neck from where Stefan bit her in the last episode. She starts covering it with makeup.
Yeah. It's like a pressed compact, too. I was like,
I know.
Well, that little bit of powder is not going to cover that entire wound. Also, is it not still an open wound? Like,
yeah, probably shouldn't be putting makeup on it, but okay.
Okay. Yeah.
She must ditch the makeup from the outfit we see later. But
yeah.
Anyway, at this point, she leaves her room in her workout clothes. She has, like, a little hoodie on. And she sees Alaric, who's moved back in, walking down the stairs. She says good morning to him, and he says nothing.
He just walks down the stairs.
He's walking downstairs holding his head like he's hungover or something.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly it's training time. It is Alaric training time. That's why she's woken up at 5:15 so that before school she can work out. And obviously what happened with Stefan in the last one has motivated her to, like, shape up her life. So we see cut to the woods where Elena and Alaric are, like, way out in the woods and they're training. Alaric has, like, one of his mannequins out there somehow.
Yeah.
Don't know how this is going down, but sure. And he's showing her how to use, like, the various vampire, like, tools that he has. He explains to her that, like, the pressure of her punch will eject. He's like this stake thing that goes, like, around your arm.
Yeah, like some weird cuff with a built-in, like,
stakes.
Shooter.
And so when you punch, the, like, force of your punch will eject the 2 stakes into the vampire. And so she's trying, and it won't work. And she's, like, smacking it, and she's like, this thing's broken. And he holds no punches. He's like, nope, you're not strong enough. Which she says, she's like, okay, like, way to, like, soften the blow or whatever. But he's just like, all business here. He's like, you need to start lifting weights. You need to put some meat on your bones. You need to get stronger. And then he, like, goes over to his bag and he takes out a vervain grenade and he shows that to her. And she's like, yeah, I've used it before. And so he's like, the element of surprise is your only advantage when it comes to a vampire. He pulls the pin out and tosses the grenade at Elena. She's obviously like, what the heck?
Yeah.
She catches it, obviously, thank God, because she throws it into the air where it, like, explodes.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not, vervain's not going to do anything to him, but it is, like, a grenade. Like, it is an explosion.
It still blew up.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking. It could have seriously hurt her.
Yeah, it definitely could have. I guess he's like, either she catches this or she dies now. Like,
yeah. If she can't catch this and then throw it, she'll never survive anyway. So.
I guess not.
Sure.
Yeah, so anyway, he's been really hard on her, which she gets really annoyed, obviously, about that.
Course.
He, like, just risked her life.
Yeah.
And, it says that, like, she's taking this seriously. Like, she thinks that he's, like, joking around, I guess. Like, she thinks he's making a joke out of it. But Alaric says, like, he isn't joking. And he says that, like, vampires will take what they want, they will hurt who they want, and they will do whatever they want, and they'll do it without any remorse. And Elena's like, you can drop the pronouns. We can just say Stefan, obviously, is who this is about. Which Alaric doesn't necessarily, like, address that specifically because I don't think he means Stefan.
I don't think he means Stefan at all.
Vampires. Obviously, we know where this plot's going.
Yeah, of course.
But, like, obviously, Damon just killed him.
Yeah.
He has so much beef with both Salvatores right now. This is not about Stefan for Alaric.
I know. I'm like, actually, I feel like it's almost more about Damon than Stefan at this point. Cause
yeah, it kind of
Alaric
is.
Hasn't really interacted with Stefan like this yet.
I'm sure he's heard all about, like, what happened in the Reckoning, so he probably knows, like, how bad Stefan is. But yeah, it's still obviously like, this is about all vampires. It's not about Stefan. And so Alaric says that he gets that Stefan hurt Elena and that she doesn't want it to happen again, and, like, she jumps in and finishes the thought saying, like, but she's crazy to think that, like, she can ever protect herself against a vampire who has their humanity off.
Yeah.
Which, you know, so obviously she's, like, aware of how bad all of this is.
Yeah.
But Alaric kind of says more gently, like, I think you found a way to get out of bed this morning, and that makes you the strongest person I know. I think you can do pretty much anything. So sweet. He's being like a tough, like, hard ass all like the scene, but it's nice that he like is kind to her.
They are ramping up like Alaric's good era, like making him so like endearing and likable.
Yeah.
Because they know they want it to hurt.
They want it to hurt so bad when we get there.
Yeah.
You all know where.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such like, it's such a good dad moment. It's such like a good, you know, supportive thing, because when she had told him to like, I'm not joking around, she had ripped the steak sleeve off too and like thrown it at him, and he gives it back to her at this point and she puts it back on, kind of like acknowledging like, okay, she is gonna actually do this, like she is gonna get stronger and figure out how to protect herself. But also I was wondering, like, is this supposed to be like the morning after the reckoning, or has it been a couple days? Because
I feel like it has to have been. Well,
I don't know.
I feel like senior prank night is supposed to be like before the first day of school.
Yeah, how could it not be? At one point they say something about like they've been looking for Michael for 2 days or something, so I got a little mixed up on the timeline, but I don't know. Presumably this is the next morning, which is really crazy. I would think so. So yeah, I do think Elena is so strong for like that happened that
next
night.
Next morning.
Yeah. Probably 5 hours later. How late were they at the school?
Probably till midnight. Probably later. She had no sleep. She just stayed up. That's why she was awake in the first scene. She probably
did, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she is so strong for this.
She
and for
is.
immediately jumping into action. Because that would not be me. I'd be like, I'm sick. I can't go
I know.
to school.
I'm like, I got to miss the first day.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. She's crazy.
Yeah.
So good for Elena for being, you know, whatever. But, of course, now we actually have to get into the first day of school. Yes. The first day of senior year.
Yeah, we see the girls, Elena, Caroline, and Bonnie, are in front of the school. They're all standing there in their first day outfits. They all look so cute.
Yeah, I love.
Elena has like the telltale scarf, of course.
Obviously, just got bit.
Yes, showing she just got bit. And like Caroline is like, it's the first day of senior year, and she and Bonnie start talking about how it's, you know, kind of just another day. Like they're underwhelmed at like how it just feels like another day.
Yeah.
Which is so real. I remember feeling like that too. I was like, oh, just another day. And Caroline says, like, you know, just because the prank night was a bust, which this also kind of makes me think it was just last night.
Yeah.
Even though it was a bust, you know, like, we shouldn't let all of our boyfriend dramas ruin our day. Because obviously, all these girls got their little boyfriend dramas going on.
Oh, yeah.
Which will unfold throughout the episode.
Yeah.
So good to get them out there now. And, you know, Caroline and Bonnie sort of start to walk toward school. And then Elena just stops. And she realizes, she's like, it's our anniversary. And she realizes that technically she and Stefan met on the first day of school last year.
Yeah.
And of course, like, Caroline and Bonnie ask if she's okay. And Elena basically just says, like, I have to put it behind me.
Yeah, the Elena mantra. She says, new year, new life. Which this was me on the first day of school every year. I'm like, I'm a new person.
I'm a new person.
I've been reborn.
I'm reinventing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Elena, it's for good and justified reason, obviously.
Oh,
she's like,
absolutely.
Probably last year, she probably went in with the same thought of, like, you know, after her parents died, like, new year, new me, I've got to, like, become a different person. And now she's like, got to do it again. Didn't work last time.
I got to put on, like, 20 pounds of muscle. Yeah. I got to become super fit.
Yeah, become Buffy. Like,
literally.
So it's not looking good for them. Speaking of not looking good, but also looking kind of good.
Looking a little good in some ways.
Is at the Salvatore house. Damon is going down the stairs, and he's having to step over bodies of dead girls, like, laying on the stairs. So he, of course, goes into the living room where, of course, Stefan is there with a bunch of other girls.
Yep.
And they're playing Twister on a bloody mat. But when Stefan, like, spins the dial and it lands on, like, left hand, he has to bite the hand off the, like, where it landed, which is hilarious. That he was like, it's just a game for me to feed.
Also, I'm just imagining, you know, they get like right foot.
Yeah.
So bite your foot.
He's definitely biting the ankle.
We've
seen he's bit the ankles of some of his victims before, which is crazy, but he does it. We've seen he does it. We've just never seen Paul actually have to do it, because that's definitely weird.
That would be so. I think it'd be crossing a line.
Yeah, it is weird. But we know he does it. But anyway, so he's just playing Twister as an excuse to bite the girls. And, you know, I think this is interesting because his little Twister party reminds me of Damon's season 1 Tri-Delt party.
Yes.
But I feel like this is way worse because he's
I think
actually
so too.
killing them.
Yeah.
Damon, I mean, we don't know, obviously, but he said they were just college girls that he had, like, compelled, and they were going to just wake up in their dorm rooms the next day with, like, a hangover, which obviously is still a violation and bad. But he was just, like, stealing a day and some blood from the girls, whereas Stefan is actually murdering them as far as we see. Yeah. Which is really insane that, you know, the ante is being, like, upped there by Stefan.
Yeah. I also thought it was really interesting how they were trying to draw that parallel and show, like, they have flip-flopped because also I was thinking they're playing the song Black Iron Lung by Gods of Macho. Yeah. And I forgot, like, what the scene was, but when that song came on, I was like, oh, such a Damon song. I know. Or, like, maybe a Klaus song. Mm-hmm. But no, it's like, for Stefan, like, going out of control. And I'm like, it really shows. Like, they're trying to show they've flip-flopped, basically.
I totally thought that, too, that I was fully expecting it to be a Damon song, and then it being Stefan was like, I forgot the roles have totally reversed here. Like, everything is completely different about their characters in this season. So yeah, it is really an interesting, like, setup to get into the scene. And, like, furthering that, Damon, like, comes in saying that the girls owe him a new rug because they got blood all over his rug, which Stefan's like, it's my rug, too. It's our rug, brother. Okay. Their vibes are so funny. Yeah. And Stefan asks Damon if he wants a spin on the Twister. He has his humanity off, but he knows how to share. That's, like, Stefan for you. But suddenly they hear a knock at the door. And so Damon goes to answer it and, of course, finds Rebekah. And she just, like, walks right in, like, where's Stefan? Just invites herself in, which, first of all, again, how do they not have some lease on this house so that vampires can't just walk in at random? But
I thought Elena did own it.
She did, but she died.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So she did die and it broke it. That's right.
I don't know if they re-signed it. She's still human. You'd think if they re-signed it that it would reinstate. But I don't know. At this point, get Jeremy freaking Gilbert. Get anybody.
Anyone.
Matt Donovan. Like, you probably wouldn't invite them in. But still, I'm like, come on. You are just going to, the house that any vampire can enter forever? Yeah. Anyway. So Rebekah walks right in. And Damon's like, who the hell are you? He hasn't met Rebekah, obviously. He just missed her at the reckoning. And it's just funny that all of this has gone down without him somehow knowing who she is. Yeah. Obviously, he's heard about her. But Rebekah announces that Klaus left her, which is crazy because he literally...
It's so messed up.
It doesn't make any sense, first of all, because he literally daggered her in the 20s for, like, saying she was going to leave him behind. Yeah. And then he woke her up just to leave her behind. Like, she's probably like, make up your mind, Klaus.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking, like, Klaus thinks Michael might be coming from a Mystic Falls.
Yes, he left her for dead.
Literally left her for dead.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
Better you than me. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's so funny. But anyway, Rebekah, like, comes in and asks which room is hers. She's like, where am I staying? She's got, like, bags, too, like, shopping bags, clearly. She's, like, gone and got her supplies and everything. Just immediately moving in. Yep. And Stefan's like, you're not staying here. But Rebekah, like, looks back and forth from Damon back to Stefan and just goes, rude, both of you.
She's kind of right for that.
She's kind of right for that. She just walks off. She just goes upstairs.
She just goes to get her room.
Yeah, just gonna go find a room, I guess. She's so funny. This is the era where I'm like, obviously Rebekah kind of sucks in a lot of ways, but I do really like parts of Rebekah, and this is one of them where I'm like, that's so Rebekah to just be is. Yeah, Klaus left me behind, so I'm gonna move in, and I bought a bunch of new clothes. Yeah, and she nice to me.
She also wasted no time getting that pink feather put in her hair.
I thought the same thing. I was like, the classic micro trend from 2011 of the feather hair.
Oh, God.
I remember those so vividly.
I know. I had, like, a clip-in one. I'm like, oh, God. The horror.
If you had one. I didn't remember you having one.
It was a clip-in. I feel like I wore it once, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
This is the weirdest trend. Yeah, I wanted a feather, I think, but I never did it because I was like, I mean, I don't even dye my hair. Like, I'm just like, a person who doesn't change it a lot. But I did get, like, blonde ones for a while.
Yeah.
But that was such a thing where you just get these, like, extensions.
Random, little colors. So
I had bright blonde ones for, like, a short amount of time. So it's just so funny. We all did it in 2011, 12, whatever it was. So it's so funny that they put it in Vampire Diaries because it was so of that time.
It's such a little time capsule.
Yeah, for any people people who are watching who are like younger now and you're watching it for the first time,
look it up.
This is a thing that was
it
happened. We all did this in
Yeah.
high school. It was so weird.
Yeah. The feather was especially unfortunate
The
due
feather
to
was
appropriation
crazy.
reasons.
That's
but yeah,
true, it's
it
true.
also looked bad.
It
so
also-
not good on any
Well,
level, but
here's the thing though, I actually kind of like it on Rebekah in certain parts. Like when she has her
It's
hair up in a
fun.
ponytail and you get the tiny streak
that's
of it.
true.
As a high schooler, I think it's fun.
It is
now
fun.
it's
Yeah.
like a grown woman. Absolutely not.
There's
obvious.
No.
But being 16 and having like a random
A little pink streak.
is
Yeah.
fun.
Because
That's
it
like a
does just
fun
look
trend.
like the little streak.
Yeah. So I don't hate it in every styling that she has of it, but like at this one especially, you're like, oh god,
Oh my
this
God.
trend is crazy.
She went right to the salon and was like, clip it in.
Yeah. So funny. But anyway,
Yeah.
of course, we've got to go back to the school. Where Jeremy is following Bonnie down the hallway, and he's like joking around saying that she won't talk to him because he's a junior now and she's a senior. But obviously, she's like pissed at him. Obviously,
He's an idiot.
He's
Yeah.
such an idiot, which we will continue to say this whole episode, the next whole episode, and probably the rest of the season.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway, so she gives him the obligatory happy first day. Like, you know, obviously she has to say something. And he's like, you're mad?
Yeah.
What? Which she's like, I'm not mad. But, and she says, I'm resigned to the fact that I'm sharing space in our relationship with both Anna and Vicki.
I'm glad she said it.
Yeah, obviously. But Jeremy's only response to this is, I haven't talked to Vicki in a while. Bro,
dumb.
he's so dumb. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
And Bonnie says, obviously, that's not the point. That is not the point at all. And he's like, I know. But obviously, he doesn't know. He doesn't get
he
it.
doesn't know.
He's just like, yeah, I know. That's not the point. But no, he doesn't know.
No.
And Jeremy claims that he had to see Anna again because
Yes.
Damon needed information from her, which is obviously fair. That was the situation. But, like, come on. Obviously, that isn't the full story. He isn't being truthful about how he feels and what's actually happening here, which Bonnie is fully aware of. And she says to Jeremy that, like, she thinks he has the power to decide, like, when or if he sees Anna. And, like, he needs to remember that this is all up to him of, like, how this all goes down. And she just, like, walks away.
Yeah.
Bonnie's so right here. Like, she's
know.
always put in the worst position. It's so unfair.
She really is. Yeah. No, Bonnie's done so dirty time and time again. And this is just another example.
This plot is like so far one of the worst to me because it's just so unnecessary.
I know.
And then it also sucks where it's like, yeah, it is totally just on Jeremy. He can do the right thing here.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not going to. And then also like Bonnie has obviously no way of knowing.
Yeah,
he could be like spending every night with Anna all night talking, which it kind of seems like he is, and then not telling her, and she would just not know. There'd be no way to know.
No.
It's crazy.
I have so
unfair.
much more, so I'll just save my thoughts.
Yeah, we'll keep getting into this a lot, obviously. It's
Of
the
course.
theme for this next episode and the next one, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So,
a
lot
I have much
in the
to
next
say.
one.
Yes.
So we'll continue that later,
But yeah, we see also showing up for the first day of senior year, Matt rolls up in his little pickup truck and he's in the parking lot, kind of like looking sad and like, you know, introspective.
Oh my God, I have to say, he's
Obviously.
Maddie Blue on all perspectives. The blue
He
truck,
is,
the blue shirt, the blue eyes, the blue mood. I was like, they're going Maddie Blue times 4 here.
That's true. They're like, he is the all-American boy.
Yeah.
Like, they
He's our
really,
blue-eyed baby. Like,
yeah, he's in a pickup truck. He's
Yeah.
got his little blue, I think it is like flannel.
He's wearing like a blue flannel, the bright blue eyes.
Yep.
The blue is so insane around Matt. Obviously it worked, but it's
It
just
works
funny.
well. As is his mood, blue.
Yes, exactly.
Obviously. And, you know, you can, like, guess he's probably thinking about Vicki, and it's confirmed when Vicki appears right next to him. And he's, you know, he's kind of surprised at first, like, almost, like, scared.
Yeah.
But then he starts smiling, and he's very clearly happy to see her. And Matt starts reminiscing with Vicki about the first day of school last year. And he says he worried about running into Elena, and you said, and then Vicki, like, fills in the rest, and she says, suck it up, be a man, and show her what she's missing.
Yeah.
Which is like,
such a good sibling.
it's such a cute little sibling dynamic.
Yeah.
And Vicki asks Matt if he's okay because he seems unhappy. And Matt is just talking about how he has so much to deal with now that she has passed away and Kelly, his mom, is just gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's obviously a lot. And Matt is really so sympathetic. And then Vicki tells him, like, what if I told you there was a way for me to come back? Playing right into basically what Matt is saying.
Of course.
And Matt starts to ask, like, what she means, because he's obviously intrigued when Tyler comes up to the car and, like, knocks on the window.
Hits the window.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, let's go. All excited for the first day of school. So Matt, like, you know, Vicky's kind of disappeared, and Matt gets out to walk in with Tyler. And Tyler asks him if he was talking to himself, but Matt just, like, pivots. He doesn't acknowledge it at all. And it's just like, you seem to be in a really good mood. Mm-hmm. And Tyler's like, life is good.
Yeah, we're seniors, man.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, first day of the rest of our lives, like that level.
So high on life.
Clearly, the hybrid is really
yes,
changed
his emotions
him.
have definitely drastically, like, switched and become very, like, it's
super
like he's
confident.
On a drug. He's like, he's just so high on life.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting to contrast with Matt there, who's obviously miserable with good reason. And the scene's so interesting, too, of, like, the remembering about last year, how it's just so interesting to contextualize this as being a year from the pilot.
Yeah.
You know, like, a lot of times when you're watching shows, it's not super clear. And we talk about this a lot in Vampire Diaries, where it's like, who knows what point of the year this is?
It could be any time.
Unless it's, like, a Halloween episode or something like that. You got not a clue. And so it's nice to give this marker of being like, we're officially a year away from the pilot now. And everything has changed. So really crazy place to be. But of course, some things will never change. And that is Catherine being up to Catherine shit.
Yep. Yeah, Catherine is dangling like a little mouse in front of Michael, who's like still, you know, like desiccated in his little entombment. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to wake him up. And Damon calls her to ask, what's been going on the past 2 days? This is where he says it's been 2 days.
Yeah.
And Catherine tells Damon that Michael just won't eat. She's tried everything. And Damon is just like, try harder.
Yeah. Just
obviously.
Keep working. Like what?
Yeah. And at this point, Catherine like looks out of the crypt that Michael's in and sees a man with flowers visiting a grave in the distance. And she's like, okay, I'll try to give it another shot. Yeah. Obviously going to feed this guy to Michael.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So we'll check back in on Catherine later. Obviously, this is going to be like an episode-long situation of trying to figure out how to wake up Michael.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as easy as just like taking the chains off and calling it good.
Yep.
But of course, we've got to go back to the school. Elena is opening her locker when Damon calls her to warn her not to visit the house because Rebekah is staying there. Which again, can't believe that Rebekah is just staying there. She's just hanging
forget she does stay there.
Yeah, I know. It makes sense because like, what else is she gonna do? I guess, but also like, she's a vampire. Just go find like the nicest foreclosure in town. Take the Isabel special,
or compel a hotel room, an apartment. Yeah, anywhere.
The B&B like Catherine does. Like, something.
Yeah.
But anyway, Elena asks Damon, of course, as she always does, like, what's up with Stefan? What's Stefan doing? And Damon's like, oh, well, you know Stefan. He's journaling, reading, shaping his hair, like the normal stuff.
I like this.
Not playing Bloody Twister. But of course he doesn't tell her that. And Elena says, like, come on, Damon, like, whatever it is, I can handle it.
Girl,
how many times do you have to say this? Girl, you cannot understand.
No.
Like, if she knew about Bloody Twister, she'd like have an
she'd freak.
She'd freak out. So yeah, it's just funny that she's like, I can handle it when we know what Stefan's doing, and she definitely can't handle that. And Damon also probably agrees with that because he doesn't tell her. He pretends like that the school bell is like going off. He's like, oh, you shouldn't be late for class, bye, and he like hangs up.
Yeah, I love Damon trying to get off the phone with someone. He's always like,
so
oh,
funny.
It's a tunnel, or the bell's ringing, or something like
some
that.
excuse, and then just hangs up. So then we see also in the hallway, Caroline is hanging up a flyer for the back to school bonfire tonight, and Elena comes up to her saying like, oh, she forgot about that. And Caroline's like, oh, you have to go. Yeah. Classic Caroline.
Of course.
Like, we need to seize the day. Like, we need to have this experience. And she's obviously about to launch into that pep talk when Tyler appears and he kisses her saying, happy first day, which, again, this guy is like... This is crazy.
He's
I feel like
on one.
Everyone must be like, something's wrong with him because who's this excited for high school?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, but we see why he's so hyped. We see there's like a little spot of blood on his shirt.
Yeah.
Which Elena immediately clocks. So they both, like Caroline and Elena, drag him into the bathroom. And Caroline's like, Vampire 101, don't wear your breakfast to school.
Yeah, so bad. Which I will say, I get that it's fishy. Obviously, as a vampire, you don't want to have blood on you. But I didn't even think it was that bad. Like,
no, it's just a little spot.
It's a little circle of blood at the top of his shirt, which is definitely fishy. Like, I feel like in high school, I would get asked about that every 2 seconds if I had blood on my shirt.
People would be like, what?
But also, like, he's an athlete. Just be like, I got a bloody nose. Like, I don't know. Like, I was doing something.
Anything.
I feel like it's not that hard to be like, I wipe blood on my shirt. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, it's a little fishy when they know there's vampires in town.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. But anyway, they think it's a huge deal. So they're, like, trying to clean him off and whatever. And asks, like, where it even came from. Because they obviously think he attacked someone. Yeah. He's like, chill. It was a blood bag. Yeah. Caroline's like, how did you get a blood bag? And he says Rebekah gave him the blood bags. Yeah. Because as he is Klaus's new asset, Rebekah is, like, supposed to watch over him and protect him. So he's, like, very proud of this fact. Caroline is obviously pissed. Yeah. She's like, you know, why are you so amused by this? This is not a good thing. And he's basically like, what, you don't think it's awesome that I'm Klaus's first hybrid? Like, it's really cool. Like,
yeah, he's being too much. This is the end of the good boyfriend era.
The We Love Tyler era. It's definitely the last episode we get. Like, obviously most of this is bad. Yeah. So it's pretty over for him. Of course, Caroline, though, is going to try to, like, hold on.
Of course.
But she's getting increasingly, like, more upset and, like, starting to fight with him. And Elena's just standing there awkwardly, like, holding the paper towels that she grabbed. And she just, like, hands them over to Caroline and is like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah. You got this, right?
Yeah. So she hands over the paper towels and just, like, leaves the bathroom, obviously, because she's like, this is turning into a couple issue at this point. Definitely. No longer a vampire hybrid issue. Yeah. But, of course, when Elena walks out of the bathroom, the classic, she runs right into Stefan.
Yeah, of course. Another boyfriend issue.
Yeah.
And Stefan starts telling Elena he's here to keep an eye on her for Klaus, of course. She's obviously another asset.
Yeah.
And she's clearly, like, not happy about this. And she makes to leave, but he grabs her arm.
Yeah.
And she tells Stefan, like, let me go. And he's like, do you think I want to be a senior for the 100th time? No, but I don't have a choice in the matter, so neither do you. Boy, what? You did this to yourself.
Yeah.
Fine. Last year you went to high school because of Elena. This year Klaus is making you. What about the other 98 times? Yeah, why were you just going to high school?
Has he really ever gone to high school other than this time?
If he has, like he's insane. And it proves it. Like,
I don't think he has.
There's
I think
no
he
way.
must just be joking. But it is weird. I don't know. But his dialogue is so funny.
It
this
is,
whole scene. Because I also like when Elena asks, like, what he's doing there. He's like, I'm back in school. Go Timberwolves.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, he's just, like, popping off, being sassy, being Stefan.
He's having fun with it.
He's definitely having fun with it.
Yeah. But then Stefan drops that line about, like, the 100th time in high school. And Stefan still hasn't let her go when Alaric comes up to them and tells Stefan to let Elena go.
Yeah.
Stefan then pushes Alaric against the lockers and tells him not to get in his way. And then Stefan just kind of walks off. You can see in the scene, students are looking.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell?
Like, what? Like, imagine this happening in your high school. Like,
it's insane. I know. I thought that the whole time. I was like, imagine having a student who pretty much never shows up, is known as being really, like, weird because, like, one day is, like, the nicest.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, like, you know, perfect all-American quarterback of the football team. Like, he brought them to, like, sectionals or whatever in the first season. To this.
Yeah, he's literally such a wild kid. And so they're like, this guy is shoving the history teacher up against the lockers. Also
Alaric.
because it's like Elena's right there, and I'm sure everyone knows Elena and Alaric are, like, have this weird guardianship thing. Yeah. And so it's like everyone's probably like, what the hell is going on there? I would be digging for gossip. I would be like, I need to know. I need to know this situation.
I would be following them after school. I would be like, what is going on?
Texting everyone I know. Does anyone know anything? Because this is so crazy.
Yeah. I'd be putting in the work to befriend, like, Elena or someone.
I'd get some insider info. Yeah. So funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because after Stefan shoves him up against the locker, he just, like, lets him go and he just walks away. He's like, I'll see you in history. Yeah. So you know people watching are just like, why was that so, like, chill at the end? Like, so
why
weird.
he just walked away? Odd. Yeah.
But of course, we have to go to history class from there. And we see in Alaric's classroom, Elena and Alaric are there first. They're just alone, so they can like openly talk about Stefan and how he's, you know, Elena's new bodyguard. And we hear the bell ring and more students start to arrive. And so, you know, they have to put a pause on the combo. But Elena says, like, him being here is not good for any of us. We have to do something about this. So putting in motion that Elena and Alaric are going to get up to something in relation to Stefan. But of course she has to go to her seat. We see Caroline arrive and she sits next to her. Stefan comes in and he forces the guy sitting next to Elena to move. He's like, you're in my seat. Just extending the weird lore of Stefan amongst these students of being like, imagine if you were sitting in a seat in class and someone was like, this is my seat, move.
Yeah, first day, no seats assigned.
Yeah, I'd be so embarrassed.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so he makes the guy move so he can sit next to Elena and he's like, hey, you. She's obviously like, please, like, stop, leave me alone. But of course Alaric starts class and he goes up to the board and writes AP American History. I did not realize this was A-Push before. I know. Had never clocked that. Rachel and I both did A-Push and it was a very traumatizing experience.
Oh my God, we should have a separate pod about how traumatizing A-Push.
So the context that they're in A-Push is really insane to me. I'm like,
I know.
Oh man.
I'm like, we all went through it in A-Push.
But I'm like, I never noticed that it was A-Push, so that makes me really think that these people are all getting 2s on that test. I'm like, there's no way any of them are passing it. Stefan, I guess, because he lived through it. Rebekah wouldn't even, because she's been in a coffin for the whole time.
Yeah, that's true.
The amount of misinformation she'd be putting, they'd be like, she's claiming the Vikings settled in like, it'd be like nothing's accurate. So,
and she's like writing about the originals in the the DBQ or whatever it is.
Yeah, so I was like, this is just crazy. Plus, Tyler Lockwood is in this class. I'm sorry, but there's no way. He gives like the craziest like himbo dumb energy. I'm like, there's no way he made it into A-Push. And I was telling this to producer Shay, and she was like, well, Carol probably bought his seat for him. I was like, that's so true. Carol was definitely like, Tyler must be an A-Push. I will donate to the football field if you don't put him in.
I'm just imagining she's also put Tyler, like, she's paid for him to be an AP Lit or whatever.
Yeah, he's in like pre-cal. Like he's in all these crazy... Like, there's no confirmation that Tyler's dumb, but I just really don't think he's smart. So.
No, I know. I'm imagining him in, like, AP Lit, like, reading a poem he wrote about, like, being a werewolf. Yeah. But it's, like, a veiled
like,
thing.
Okay. Like, yeah, I go outside and I howl at the moon. And the teacher's like, okay. Good job, Tyler.
And they can do nothing about it because Carol will just pay them to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, pay for him to get an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. But anyway, so that's where the school year's starting off. And Alaric tries to start teaching, saying how they're going to start, like, you know, at the start of America with, like, Native Americans. And Rebekah walks in, and she's like, what about the Vikings? Alaric's like, there's no proof that Vikings, like, settled in America.
Yeah.
But, of course, he doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
Again, he's also only heard of Rebekah, not seen her. So he's like, who are you? And she says that she's Rebekah. And, you know, he exchanges a look with Elena that's like, oh, this is Rebekah. This is so, which I was also just thinking, I was like, as Alaric, as a history buff, because I wouldn't say I'm a history buff, but I am interested in history. I would be like, please tell me everything. I want to know. You're confirming for me like these unconfirmed things about Vikings in America. Like I just imagine Alaric is like
so interesting.
Yeah, I would think Alaric would want to know, but
which is why I'm glad he gets his little arc that starts at the end of the next episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's funny that Rebekah's in this class, and it's funny that, like, as much as you'd think she would have the advantages of, like, living through all of it, she barely has.
She barely has.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I mean, how much time did we spend from 1920 to, like, present day? That's a huge chunk of, like, American history. She knows none of it.
Yeah, she knows nothing.
So it's kind of like a catch-up class, if anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, just funny. But, of course, we're not going to stay in a classroom for too long. We go out to the stoner pit that we haven't seen in a while.
A long time. Yeah, obviously, because it's so reminiscent of Vicki and Jeremy in season 1.
Yeah, his stoner era.
Yeah, and Matt is walking around in the stoner pit, and Vicki appears and walks up to him saying, he doesn't belong here. Like, what is he doing here? And Matt says he figured this would be a place where Vicki would feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Which is cute. So obviously he's here to talk to Vicki.
Yeah.
And he immediately asks, like, what she meant by saying he could help her come back. And she explains that right now she can only come back when Matt is thinking of her. But there's a way that she can be free of that. And she has help from the other side that will like help her get more of a foothold without just Matt. So she can basically like roam the world.
Yeah.
And Jeremy comes out at this point and is like, he doesn't acknowledge Vicki at all. He's just like, oh, Matt, like, you know, what are you doing out here? And Matt asks him the same. And Jeremy says he was like looking for a stoner lab partner. And then Jeremy just kind of leaves. And Matt asks Vicki, like, can he not see you anymore? Because obviously Jeremy didn't acknowledge Vicki at all. Cut to Jeremy is in the bathroom talking to Anna and is like, Matt was talking to Vicki right out in the open. Like, can you believe this?
He has such a good cut. Like, such a smart thing to be like, wow, I don't know. Like, did Jeremy see you?
Yeah.
Guess what I saw.
I was like,
so funny.
They had to sprinkle in a little good Jeremy moment because this is funny. It. But yeah, I was like, talk your shit, Jeremy. Love you. Just for now. And they're talking and Anna asks, like, how Matt can talk to Vicki. And Jeremy tells Anna about Matt drowning himself and that he came back from the dead. Mm-hmm. And what Vicki said about being able to come back. And it starts cutting back and forth between the stoner pit and like Anna and Jeremy talking in the bathroom. And Vicki starts explaining out in the stoner pit to Matt that an old witch is helping her. And there's a ritual that Matt could do to help get her back. And in the bathroom, Anna guesses at sort of the same thing when talking to Jeremy. So they're paralleling each other. And Vicki tells Matt that only he will be able to see her. She'll just be able to come and go as she pleases. Yeah. So it's not like you have to think of me to pull me here. So that's like the big difference. Obviously, she doesn't realize yet. She can also interact with the physical world, but we'll deal with that in the next episode.
Yeah.
And Anna tells Jeremy in the bathroom, as this is cutting back and forth, that Vicki is bad news. And Jeremy tries to disagree. Like, she's not a bad person, which is true. But Anna is like, you can't upset the balance of nature without a price. If she is using a witch's energy from the other side, you do not know what price she said she would pay.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, Vicki might not be a bad person, but she definitely, like,
is agreeing to do a bad thing.
Exactly. Potentially agreeing to do something bad. Definitely.
Yeah. It's so sad. I hate that, like, Vicki gets this sort of villain arc in her past life or dead life, whatever it's called.
I know.
Because it's like, Jeremy's right. She isn't all in all a bad person. And I do think at the end of the day, she just wants to live. Like, she died when she was, like, 17.
Exactly. Not even, like, just live. Like, she even just wants to not be alone.
Yes.
Which same for Matt.
Yeah.
Which makes it that much more sympathetic. But yeah, and Vicki is still trying to convince Matt at this point, and she starts to cry a little bit.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's enough for Matt, because she's saying what we just said, like, she doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And at this point, Matt asks what he'd have to do. So he's obviously considering it, probably going to go through with it.
Yeah, your dead sibling who you miss dearly is crying
how could you say
alone.
no?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? So of course he's on board.
Yeah, Esther knew what she was doing.
Yeah. Now to one of my favorite, like, most memorable things. I just feel like this is the part of the episode that is so visually memorable.
Definitely.
So high school. I love it. Is, of course, on the football field. The football team is, like, out practicing. We see the cheerleaders are on the side warming up, stretching. They're obviously, like, gathering to practice as well. And one of the cheerleaders asks, "Where's Dana?" Which I was like,
my God. I was like...
So it must be the day after, because they don't realize these girls, the girl and the guy, Chad, are missing.
Yeah.
They're just like, they didn't show up for school. That's really weird.
Yeah, but also,
they're dead.
This makes 4 missing teens in, like, a year. Insane. Because these two, Chad and Dana, and then Sarah and...
Oh, yeah. And Amber, April, what the heck was her name?
Not Amber, April. Those are other ones.
Something like it.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on her name.
I know, I'm blanking. I can picture her so well, but yeah.
Anyway.
The 2 girls that were hanging around Jeremy and Tyler. That didn't end well for them.
Yeah, lots of missing teens, lots of dead teens. Should be more suspicious, but apparently nobody cares.
They should have, like, a town curfew of, like, 6 p.m.
Literally.
Yeah.
So anyway, so clearly the prank night was, like, a weird fail when they don't know that anything has happened yet.
Yeah.
But Rebekah swoops in, like, well, that must mean there's, like, an opening on the squad. Mm-hmm. Of course, she's in her, like, workout gear. She's ready. She's trying out for the team, too. And she, like, starts stretching. And Caroline walks over and is obviously upset and is like, you can't just come in here and infiltrate all of our lives. Obviously, Caroline is the most upset about this entire situation because of the Tyler of it all. And Rebekah says, like, I'm only interested in your life, your spunk, your popularity, like, and she pauses and looks over at Tyler and says, maybe even your boyfriend. So Rebekah's on a mission to steal Caroline's life, which I have to, well, first of all, love her for. I think it's funny to just be like, that's the life I want. I guess I'll take it. But also, I was like, this is so weird in the context of Klaus. The fact that he ends up being, like, obsessed with Caroline.
I know.
And, like, wanting to be with her and whatever. And Rebekah, like, wants to be her. I was like, again, it's a weird line.
Siblings are dating.
And then also, it's just funny that Caroline and Stefan are the two people that the originals are both obsessed with. They've got them both so hooked, both of them. It's so funny.
Yeah, no, so true. Oh my God.
But anyway, we have to check in on the football team. The football coach is pushing them, making them do more runs, workouts, whatever. I don't know, that stuff. But Tyler obviously is over it. So he decides and goes up to the coach and tells them they're done. And the coach is obviously like, what? Like, keep running, Lockwood. Like, he's obviously not going to just let them be done just because he wants to be. So Tyler's like, okay, and compels the coach. He says, shut the hell up so we can go get drunk at the bonfire. And the coach just is like quiet for a second and is like, hit the showers, boys.
Yep, you're good.
Sends them all off the field and everyone starts cheering. But, like, he just compelled the coach in the open, and also with, like, a line that isn't even believable if you heard it.
Yeah, no.
To be like, shut the hell up and let us go get drunk.
Yeah, no, the natural response to that is like, okay, extra laps for you for being, like, mouthing off. Yeah.
Or, like, detention for, like, being like, we're going to go get drunk. Like, I don't know.
True.
It's just crazy that he
straight
thinks,
to the DARE program.
Yeah, like, it's like a thing of, even if somebody didn't notice that he was compelling, the verbal, like, situation was so obvious that it would raise a red flag anyway that anybody heard it. Which, of course, Caroline does pick up on all of this and comes right over and tells Tyler that he needs to be more subtle if he's going to be compelling people. And Tyler says, coming from the queen of subtlety, which the sass, do not sass your girlfriend. And
also, what is he basing this on? Queen of subtlety. I mean,
well, that Caroline is such an unsubtle person generally. So
I guess.
He's making fun of her.
But
he's like, relax, I'm in control. She's obviously just shocked and angry at him for this.
Of course.
This is an episode of Caroline just being pissed about anything and everything because unfortunately,
justifiably.
Yeah, everything's pretty bad right now for her. And, like, she's pushing him about it, but he says he's fine. He's never been better. Klaus has just given him this gift of life. And it's bad, obviously. Good. They're about to launch into a fight when suddenly they overhear other classmates are cheering. They're like, look at the new girl. And then they see Rebekah is doing, like, I don't know these terms, but she's doing, like,
she's doing gymnastics.
She's doing, like, cartwheels without her hands, like, just in the air, like, flips, and then she does several of them in a row, and then she lands in a split, and then she just looks. It is very impressive, and then she just looks over at Tyler and Caroline, like, smirking, like, haha, like, just showed you guys up. Caroline's obviously, again, super annoyed by this,
not into it.
And Tyler just goes, "Damn, girls got moves."
He's so dumb.
The boys in this episode are just not reading a room. They don't have a freaking clue, and they're upsetting their girlfriends left and right. It's really crazy. Clearly, Tyler's heightened, like, personality of being a vampire was just to make him more of a douche, because that's just,
I know. I had a comment about that later when Caroline tells him, like, all of his emotions are being heightened. I'm like, so we're saying that Tyler's underlying, like, his personality is just being a dick.
Douche. Yeah, basically. That's exactly what it is.
Not great, but...
Not great.
Yeah, I guess, some people just are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have to say I love Rebekah having, like, the full makeup.
Yeah.
While in, like, dead gym or, like, working out. I'm like, that also feels very, like, high school girl, like, 2000s.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so... I love Rebekah's look. I love Caroline's look. I love, like, the pair of them. Also, we didn't even say Tyler's wearing the do-rag. It's so funny. He's always got that thing on, and it's not necessary at all.
He loves it.
It's so funny.
Yeah. He kind of looks good, though.
He kind of does look good, but I was just laughing about it, too. If I thought about it too hard, I just laughed. I was like, oh, Tyler.
Yeah. Also looks good. We didn't even get to shout this out in the earlier scene. We see Elena has another ponytail moment. Obviously, for her workout. And she's running around the track while everyone does their practicing. And Stefan comes up alongside her. And Elena tells him to, like, leave her alone. And she starts to run in the opposite direction, but he follows and is like, You think I'm annoying now? Wait until homecoming.
Yeah.
Hey, who are you bringing, by the way? I don't want it to be weird.
He's pressing every button because he's also asking her if she's going to the bonfire tonight, and asking about homecoming, which is like forever away at this point.
Yeah, like oh my god, yeah. And as Elena's like, kind of trying to like turn around and run away from Stefan, some guy like starts to cross the track and accidentally bumps into her. And Stefan immediately, like, the guy apologizes and everything, and Stefan immediately shoves him to the ground and is like, watch it, dick.
Yeah, it reminds me of Under Control when he like beats up the guy for like knocking into Elena.
Saying Elena was in her way or whatever.
Yeah. So funny.
Imagine being the guy that he shoved, or there's like a guy that comes up and helps the guy up. Imagine being either of those guys. Like, Stefan, like, no, you were so nice last year.
This is what I was saying earlier about the Stefan lore, about how they're like, people at school are whispering that day of like, Stefan came back from summer and is like a jerk. He's kicking people out of their seats. He's shoving them in the like football field. Like, watch out.
Steer clear.
He's on a rampage.
Yeah, which also after this, Stefan makes some remark to Elena about like, he's just here to protect a human blood bag.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they can also hear.
Yeah.
These two students are right next to them. Like, what are they thinking?
Yeah, and Elena obviously is pissed off about all of that. She's so offended to be called a human blood bag. So she like storms off. But it's just, Stefan is being ridiculous. But I love this scene. I do too. It's so funny.
I know. I'm like, I hate this because it's so toxic, but also I love it.
It kind of works for him.
It works for Stefan. And he has his little workout clothes on too, and I'm like,
I love it.
I love this scene.
Speaking of someone else we love, of course, is Catherine. We've got to check back in at the cemetery. She's holding the mourner's body over Michael, letting blood drip into Michael's mouth.
This poor guy.
And, this poor guy, obviously dead. And so Michael finally wakes up and says, no, like, get it away from me, get it away. And he's freaking out. And Catherine is obviously very confused and, like, saying, he's desiccated. He needs blood.
Yeah.
And so she moves the body finally because he, like, won't, he keeps telling her to move it. And then Catherine realizes, like, getting to see Michael's face, like, starting to undesiccate, that she's seen him before in the 1920s in Chicago when he was looking for Klaus. And he just, like, closes his eyes and starts to, like, go back to sleep. And Catherine is, like, obviously just confused of, like, what's going on.
What is this?
She says, like, guess you're not so scary for a badass vampire hunter. Like, like, she's obviously so confused what is going on. And as a first-time viewer, you're also, like, what is going on?
Yeah, what is his deal?
He's not feeding. He is the guy from the 20s flashback. Like, if we didn't, if we weren't sure, she just confirmed it. And, it's just so unclear. But obviously, we know we'll get back to all of that. But, it's just fishy for now. But anyway, we go to Alaric's apartment, which is now Alaric's private gym.
Okay, I was going to say, where are they? I was trying to figure it out. I thought, because there's, like, the dartboard, right? It looks like his apartment. Yeah. But I was like,
they made it into a gym.
Just a gym.
I don't know. I don't know. It's so funny. But anyway, Elena had to go there to work out in private because obviously Stefan ruined the track for her.
Yeah, of course.
So she's like sitting on a bench pressing weights, and Damon walks right in. And he asks if she's planning to bench press a vampire, which I thought was so funny. He's like on it with cute. The lines in this scene. But she immediately launches into complaining about Stefan, as always. And Damon goes over to her, and he starts like holding the bar and pressing it down so that it's really hard for her to lift it. Yeah. And she keeps trying to lift it, but obviously is intensely struggling, and asks him what he's doing and is like telling him to stop. But he just goes, "Come on, Buffy." Just pushing her, obviously trying to embrace her new vampire huntress era. And Elena just lets go of the bar. David's just holding it midair. Obviously, he's not going to let it drop on her. So I thought that was like a funny trust moment of just her just giving up mid-lift. But he's got it.
He's got it.
And she jokes that one obnoxious Salvatore is bad enough. Obviously, Damon is being annoying. And he says, "You called, I'm here." Yeah. Which reminded me of earlier, like in season 1 or 2, whatever it was, when he says "You called, I came, I'm easy like that."
Yeah. Oh, I loved that line.
Yes,
that's a good
I think it's
comparison.
So funny that this reminded me of that. Yeah. But anyway, Damon calls her a warrior princess and asks what her plan is. And Elena says that she wants to lock up Stefan, at least until Michael comes and kills Klaus, and then Stefan will be free of Klaus's compulsion. But Damon points out that like that's not really going to solve anything because Stefan is still so high on human blood that the compulsion isn't really the problem anymore.
Yeah. Also, they're going to have a hard time getting him down. It's kind of how I interpreted that, too.
That's true, yeah, because he's on so much human blood. And Elena is, like, further displaying how little she understands all of this and, like, is saying, like, well, you've done it before. Like, we can just, we can do it. And Damon's like, this will be different this time. It's not like any other time. Because Stefan has his humanity off now that inherently changes this entire situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Elena then asks, do it for me, Damon. Every single time I look at him, I feel like I'm gonna break. I hate that Elena always wields the do it for me. Like, just
every time.
Every time, because she knows it'll get him.
Yes.
It really annoys me. But anyway, it obviously is effective always.
Always.
And so he, like, doesn't exactly acknowledge it, but she gets up and Damon, like, takes her hand and places it on his chest. And he tells her that that's the sternum, that it's a solid plate of bone. You know, obviously he's instructing her at this point. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of like grabs her arm and spins her around so that her back is pressing to his chest and they're like facing the same way. And he takes his hand and puts it like on her, like, I don't even know how to describe the area.
Like under her ribs, like.
Yes, under her ribs, like on her back.
Yeah.
And is pressing there and saying that, like, right under there's, like, a soft spot that could lead up to the heart. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, how you get to a vampire's heart. And it's crazy because they put her in this, like, workout cutout top.
Yes, it has a cutout.
There's a perfect cutout in that spot where his, like, skin is touching her skin, making this even more intense and intimate than it already is. This scene is, like, I'm not doing justice to explaining it because it's obviously so, like, visual.
It's so visual.
But it's, like, it's so tense. It's so, like, clearly the vibes are being felt. She's, like, kind of breathing a little heavy. Mm-hmm. Like, clearly, like, they both know what's going on here.
Yep.
And again, obviously the cutout on the top leaves that skin-to-skin contact.
Yeah.
But then he removes his fingers, telling her, I'll do whatever it is you need me to do, Elena. And they share a very specific look. And she is staring at his lips. They're, like, inches away from each other. Mm-hmm. And he says, no one is going to hurt you, especially not my brother. And then the scene ends there, and it's just insane.
I know. I was like, are you kidding me when I was watching the scene? It was almost too much.
I know.
Like, it was almost too tense and intimate. Like, I was like, this feels so early. I forgot this.
Really, they upped the ante here because she is officially, like, broken up with Stefan now.
True.
That whole situation is so gray. Obviously, it doesn't look like they're going to even get Stefan back. So they can get really intense like this. But Elena's not going to cross that line yet because she is still holding out hope for Stefan.
Of course.
And so it is like, they're building it up so heavily at this point because they want us to know, like, it is a bubble that will be bursting this season.
Yep.
Like, that is definitely the vibe going on. But anyway, so that ends that scene. And then we get a quick little cut where we see the bonfire is in full swing. Students are everywhere. They're all drinking. Everything is, like, vibing, flowing, whatever. And then, of course, we have to cut to the actual, like, situation going on here, which is in Alaric's classroom. It's nighttime now. Alaric, Damon, Elena, and Caroline are meeting. And they're clearly discussing the plan to take out Stefan. Yeah. Clearly, Elena has pulled something together. Mostly the idea seems to be Elena's going to lure Stefan away from the bonfire, and then Alaric is going to shoot him with a vervain grenade or whatever.
Something.
Something. And that's how they'll take him out. That's the plan, is lure him away, Alaric can get him.
Not very
solid.
Intricate. And then Caroline also throws out, like, the old Forbes jail cell is prepped and ready to go.
Everybody's got their tasks.
Yeah, what prep? Not sure. They're just throwing it in there.
I thought that too. It's like, it's unlocked.
It's like, okay, they can go use it. No one else is currently being tortured, so it's free.
It's free to use.
Yeah. And Damon is like, what are we going to do about Rebekah?
Yeah, obviously.
And Elena says, like, that can be your job to keep her away. Preoccupy her with your charm.
Yeah.
Which Alaric makes a little remark.
Yeah, Alaric laughs at.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, obviously he's still pissed at Damon.
Yeah.
And then at this point, Tyler arrives and Elena gives him the task of getting vervain from Carol's stash to use on Stefan, of course. And Tyler's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Like, this is the whole plan.
Yeah.
And Elena tells Tyler, like, you know, even though we're torturing someone, it's in his best interest.
It is in his best interest.
Which it is. And Tyler's like, yeah, but it's not in Klaus's best interest. And they're all like, what? What do you mean? Like, why are you acting like this? And Damon realizes immediately, and he literally says, like, uh-oh. And Tyler is going on and on about, like, owing everything to Klaus for making him feel so good, like the way he's been all episode, like so bubbly and high on life. And Tyler then, like, starts to leave because he doesn't really want to be part of this, it seems. And Damon, like, grabs something from Alaric's desk and, like, vervain darts him and explains to all of them, like all the rest of the teens and Alaric, that Tyler has been sired and that Tyler now feels loyal to Klaus because Klaus's blood created him. So now Tyler will seek acceptance from Klaus, like sort of as his like master.
Yeah.
Great introduction to the sire bond. I love this. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And Damon says it's really rare, but maybe not so much in hybrids.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll get into that a lot more
yeah,
later in the season.
Such a big thing for this season.
Exactly. And four, for sure. But I love this. I think it's brilliant to have the hybrids be sired. Yeah, and to start with Tyler and like kind of playing into his like old personality, if you will. Yeah. It just works really well.
It works well. And it works well, too, because if it had been any other hybrid, they would have just killed him. But, like, Tyler's one of them. Let it play out. They got to figure out how to, like, fix him.
Yeah. So. Which Caroline asks, so how do I fix him? Because obviously, you know, she's done. She's been done since, like, the start of the episode.
Yeah, she's like, thank God there's a reason. Let's fix it.
Yeah. And Damon tells her, get a new boyfriend.
Yep. No fixing.
No fixing it.
Not for now.
We'll get into that more later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course we've got to check in at the bonfire where Rebekah is just like trying to pour a beer. I don't know. She's trying to vibe. She's obviously never been to a party like this ever.
Yeah.
And Stefan comes over to her and like Rebekah starts complaining about how Tyler isn't there. She thought Tyler would be there. And Stefan's just like, wow, like you're just moving on. And I was like, Rebekah will really just pick any man, first one she sees, like Tyler. Rebekah, come on, girl.
Girl, you've lived 1,000 years. Like, come on.
You have your pick of any man you want, and you go for Tyler. But anyway, she tells Stefan that a girl has needs. And until Stefan's ready to pay attention to her, she will be focusing on Tyler, which is just so funny.
I love her.
She's self-aware. She's like, it's just Tyler for now.
It's just Tyler.
She's not in love with him or anything. It's just for now.
Yeah.
But then Elena walks up to them, and she starts pouring herself a beer. And immediately drinks the whole cup, just chugs it, showing she's serious. She's getting blackout tonight. And Stefan tells Elena, like, whoa, like, take it easy. You're a lightweight. And Elena says, you think I'm going to let a blood addict tell me how to drink? Get him, Elena. That was a good one.
It was a good one. I like that.
And she, like, immediately leaves after saying it, too, which that's a good pin on that. But yeah, that's pretty much what that scene is. But I think it's just so funny because Stefan telling Elena to take it easy on the drinking should be so annoying, but I was like, he's so hot.
I know.
It's so bad.
That's how I feel about this whole episode. I'm like, Stefan sucks so much, but he looks so good, and he's
good doing it.
Executing it so well. Yeah. Like, I can't even be mad.
I know. I don't know what it is. This one and the next one for me was Stefan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, he's the best he's ever looked.
This is, and
the worst he's ever acted. Yeah,
true.
But anyway, we cut away from the bonfire to go to Matt's house. Somehow, Vicki has convinced Matt to perform a whole ass seance. Like, this is so out of Matt's, like, field of anything that I'm like, it's crazy she's gotten him this far.
Yeah. Hasn't Matt been saying so far, like, every time we've seen him, he doesn't want to be involved in this?
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff.
I mean, he's always saying that with the vampires, with everything.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
I mean, it's different. But
she's got him to perform a whole. It is different because his sister, and that's fully what the witch and Vicki are taking advantage of. But anyway, he's got like candles everywhere. It's looking like a Bonnie scene, obviously. He's doing magic, literally. So he's got candles everywhere. He has the photo of Vicki from like Christmas or whatever that we've seen previously. And he takes a knife out of his pocket and cuts his palm and then like does it above the photo so he lets his blood drip onto the photo. Again, obviously magic, obviously a spell. It is insane that Vicki got Matt to even slightly participate in this as much as he is actively participating in this. And so Vicki is like, you know, telling him to say that he accepts her, like to let her in. So he says it and the wind starts picking up. The candles start burning way brighter. Smoke is like coming off the photo. And then suddenly it all stops. And you see like a shadow like wish across the room and out the door and the door slams. Which, pause to talk about that really quick. Because what was that? Was that letting Esther out or the other ghosts out? I was like, that was a weird thing that never gets like explained specifically.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I was like, I think it must be like the other ghosts or like some other type of ghost like escaping through the door. Like it's just supposed to be like symbolic of the door now being open and like they're escaping or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
a weird little thing.
My guess is it's supposed to be a hint at Esther. I don't know if it's supposed to be anything specifically because it's not Vicki, because we immediately see
we see
Matt
her.
gets scared. He's like stood up at this point and he's obviously freaked out.
Yeah.
And he gets scared when the door slams and he like falls back into Vicki, who actually catches him. Mm-hmm. So of course she is now physically there. She is actually there, and they realize that they can feel each other, and she touches his face, and they're obviously super emotional, and they hug, and Vicki says, "I'm here, Maddie." And as bad as this is gonna get, it is cute for now. We're just like, these poor siblings, like being reunited like this. It's so tragic.
It's so tragic, but also I was like, this would be so weird.
So weird.
Like being able to now feel Vicki, I don't know. Matt really being thrown for loops here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because again, she's still a ghost, but
now she's kind of here.
She might as well be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really weird situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of weird situations.
Yeah, exactly. That was going to be my segue. We see like Bonnie and Jeremy are in the hallway at school and they're talking about Anna. And Jeremy tells Bonnie that somehow Vicki is communicating with some super strong witch, and Bonnie is like, if there is another witch involved, don't you think you should have come to me before you went to Anna?
Yeah, that's such a big offense.
Yeah, not good. And then of course saying Anna and talking about her causes Anna to appear, and Jeremy tells Anna like out loud, not now. And Bonnie is
so dumb.
He's so stupid. Like, wouldn't you just be like trying to put her out of your mind?
Yeah.
Like,
at least don't interact with her in front of Bonnie.
Ignore her.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. But Bonnie obviously realizes like she's here. Like, what?
We're fighting and Anna is in the middle. Like,
yeah,
awful.
Yeah, and she literally says, she's like, I can't deal with this now. Like, Matt is doing a seance like, to bring Vicki back to life. Like,
there are other things.
I was gonna say, bigger fish to fry. I can't deal with you, Jeremy. Bye.
Yeah.
So
again, sympathize with Bonnie is so hard.
I know.
People are so dumb. Jeremy's an idiot. Matt's an idiot. Tyler's an idiot, even though he's not involved in this situation.
I know. He's not involved, but he's still an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Bonnie. She's just trying to like run interference on all this stupidity. Yeah. But we see back at Matt's house, Vicki is like holding her hand over the candle and saying she can feel like the warmth from the candle.
Yeah.
And then Matt is like, oh, you didn't realize like being physically in the world would be part of the deal. And Vicki is like, no, but it makes sense with the deal that I made with the witch because I need to be able to do what I need to do. And Matt is like, what? Obviously she's being super vague. And Vicki says, if I stay here, I have to help her restore the balance.
Yeah.
The balance of nature, of course. And Vicki grabs a wrench that's just sitting there and is like, Klaus's hybrids can't be allowed to survive. And Matt, like in the last episode, immediately is like, Tyler.
Yeah.
He's dumb. He's so untrained in the he only cares about his bestie. Yeah, he's so untrained in the supernatural ways though, because obviously not, which Vicki points out. She's like, no, not Tyler.
Not about Tyler.
Elena is the key to making the hybrids.
Yep.
Obviously implying Elena has to die.
Yeah.
And Vicki hits Matt in the face with the wrench, knocks him out, and is like, I'm sorry, but I want to stay. And goes on her merry way to go kill Elena.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's so unsurprising, obviously, that Vicki's okay with killing Elena. Like,
I know.
Not surprised. She was basically on her way to doing that in season 1, episode 7.
Yeah.
Which is why she died.
Yep.
But it is surprising that Vicki is willing to hit Matt in the face with a wrench.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, can't she just like, I don't know. I was like, it just seems like they appear and disappear.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're, walking. Like, I don't think she's walking to school.
Yeah, but I guess she has to stop him from warning Elena. But still, it's like,
yeah,
that's insane.
Duct tape his mouth or something. I don't know. Tie him up. I
don't know. It's crazy.
Giving him a concussion.
Yeah, literally. She could have, like, permanently done physical damage.
Yeah.
Or mental, like, I don't know. It's insane that she was like, yeah, I'll hit him in the face with a wrench. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's so
crazy.
wild.
But anyway, we of course check back in at the bonfire. Everyone is gathered around a guy doing a keg stand.
Yeah.
And they're chanting drink, and Elena joins in, laughing, fist pumping.
Yes.
It's so awkward.
It's really awkward.
Every time I see that, I'm like, I get secondhand embarrassment. I hate it. I think it's so,
know.
like, Elena, don't
It's really weird.
It's because she's, like, participating, but she's not really. Like, she's, you know, playing it, participating. So it just reads awkward because she's not really in it. But anyway, she sees Stefan watching her, and she stops smiling. She raises her glass to him and then chugs the rest of it. Again, trying to get obvious to him that she's getting blackout. Mm-hmm. And so Rebekah is, like, sitting sadly off by herself by a fire. She's roasting a marshmallow when Damon comes to sit with her. I also hate this scene.
I hate this scene so much.
But Rebekah is, like, obviously burning all of her marshmallows. She pulls them up, and they're completely on fire, completely charred, which is personally how I like them. So I was like, it's not a problem necessarily. But it
is pointed out.
Yeah, which is pointed out because Damon shows her that, like, he's obviously just using this as it was told, the opportunity to flirt, the opportunity to charm her, to distract her.
Yeah.
So he shows her how you can, like, pull the burnt sides off of the marshmallow, and then you get the gooey, like, inside part. And so she eats the marshmallow off the stick. They're both so close looking at each other. They both start licking their fingers. Like, their faces are so close together. Like, it's so obvious that they're just, like, flirting, but, like, in a very sexually, like, overt way that's just, like, as a viewer uncomfortable.
It's so bad. Also, the Foley artist was going crazy in this scene. Like, the sounds, if you don't like slurping and, like, sounds like that, I think there's, like, a word for it. Don't watch this scene. Skip right past it. It was too much for me. I was like, I don't like this.
Lots of licking sounds.
Yeah, a little too much. I don't think they're licking that much, but okay.
Fair. But of course, we see Elena also doesn't like this too much. She's standing on the sidelines watching all of this go down. And then Stefan walks up behind her asking what her look is for. Mm-hmm. And he observes that his brother has his flirt on and that Elena looks jealous. Mm-hmm. And she denies, saying she's not jealous, and, like, acts mad about it, and acts like she's so mad that she's going to leave. And she says she's leaving. And she finishes the rest of her drink and leaves, and Stefan, like, starts following after her because obviously, again, she's drunk. He has to make sure she gets home safely at this point. Then, cut to, we see Bonnie is on the phone with Matt, who is telling her that he messed up and that, you know, this is bad. And poor Bonnie is just, like, by herself trying to help Matt with all of this. Yeah. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, she's also not anywhere near. She's at, like, the bonfire. She's, like, leaving.
Matt's at home. Yeah. So, anyway. So Bonnie, of course, has to leave another fun function to go, like, solve something for somebody. Yep. And then we see sort of, like, after Bonnie's left, there's this guy smoking a joint, and he sets it down on, like, a car window or whatever. Yeah. And Vicki suddenly appears and picks it up, showing, like, not only with the wrench, but she can't fully interact. So she picks up the joint, taking it. Classic Vicki. She's going to go for 5 minutes and she finds a joint. I was like, girl was like, if I'm going to be alive, I don't know how long I've got. I might as well.
Might as well.
So funny. That's like our ominous setup there. Then we go back to Damon, who has now, like, made Rebekah a proper s'more, and they're still shamelessly flirting. Yep. But Rebekah starts questioning Damon, like, why isn't he being mean to her? Obviously, she's been around the block. She knows what's going on here. And Damon says, like, I can be mean if that's what you're into. Fair. He's willing. He's like, whatever it takes, I'll do it.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Which is maybe a little too obvious because she stands up and she's like, you're distracting me, right? Like, you know, you're in charge of distracting. Yeah,
we all agree, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is obvious. And he tries to play it off, being like, no, I'm just being a good housemate. Like, no, of course. This is just how I am. But she reminds him, like, Damon, any fight between the two of us will not be a fair fight. Because obviously, she's an original. She might be like a 17-year-old girl who looks like she's just, you know, petty and jealous and whatever. But, like, come on. She's still an original vampire and can take out anybody in a fight. Yeah. And she proves this by taking her, like, stick that she was using for the marshmallows and stabbing Damon with it. Yep. And then just leaving. And he has to, like, pull it out of himself. But she had to stab him with the marshmallow side of the stick. That was gross.
Yeah, that's gross. He's probably still picking out little like marshmallows sticky.
I don't know how that even works, because if you heal and it's just inside of you.
Oh god.
Disgusting.
Yeah. He has
But anyway,
permanent, like internal organ damage.
Yeah. So she probably did that on purpose, just to mess with him further.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Yeah. Anyway, in case you forgot.
Yeah.
Tyler Vervain darted earlier. He wakes up on the couch in like the mayor's study, which we haven't seen in a little bit, in the Lockwood mansion. And Caroline is in a chair sitting with him. And Tyler wakes up and is confused about how he got home. And Caroline explains, what happened. And she tells him, like, they know he's been sired.
Yeah.
And Klaus is his master now. Which Tyler is obviously like, no, I'm no one's pet. He doesn't control me. And this is where Caroline tells Tyler that he's acting like the old him that she would never be friends with, like the douchebag. And Caroline goes to leave, but Tyler stops her and apologizes, trying to redeem the good boyfriend era.
Yeah.
And he says, like, I don't want to be that guy. I hated that guy.
Yeah.
And, like, this is where Caroline tells him that now that he's a vampire, everything about his personality is heightened, which apparently his personality is just being a dick, but okay. And she tells him you have to be careful, which, whatever. And he promises to be more careful, and they kiss, and then,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he says his emotional line of just don't hate me. Everything I like about you is me.
Yes. Again, trying to redeem himself,
the best
but
boyfriend.
I fear it's too late.
Yeah, this scene was just so funny to me because Caroline is so funny the whole time because she says, like, we brought you home because you're being a D-bag.
Yeah.
Is literally what she says to him. And then I also thought it was so funny when she starts ranting about the siring and explaining what that means because she's like, you've been sired. Do you even know what that means? I was like, Caroline, you learned 20 minutes ago. You're acting like you were like, I figured this out. It was so obvious to the rest of us.
I know. Yeah, we all were thinking it.
She's mostly just pissed because she had to miss the bonfire for this.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, I want to go to that bonfire so bad. I've been planning that all summer. And Tyler ruined it.
So true. That's definitely
what's actually going down here.
Yeah.
But, of course, we've got another couple getting a dramatic scene here at the bleachers, like off of like the football field or whatever. Elena is like lying on one of the top bleachers looking up at the sky, and Stefan arrives saying that she's drunk and she needs to go home. And she gets up like, okay, fine, where's my car?
Yeah.
Making it seem like she's going to drink and drive.
Yeah.
And I think she says as much that she's going to drink and drive, and he tells her not to. Because obviously he says, like, he's going to drive her home. He has to make sure she gets home safe. And Elena's like, okay, and climbs over the railing, still like at the top of the bleachers. Mm-hmm. And she's hanging off of the ledge, holding onto the bar, her feet just like barely on the actual bleachers. And Stefan is obviously like, get down, like, stop, you're not funny. And Elena like is pretending to fall, but then catching herself. And she does it a couple times. And she's laughing at herself. She's like, no hands. Like, she's just being silly goofy. And she starts actually like laughing at herself, but then she actually falls off the bleachers and she starts screaming. But of course, before she hits the ground, Stefan vamp speeds and catches her. Yeah. And it's kind of this intimate moment of him like cradling her. And she says, I knew you'd catch me, which I was like, he's compelled to protect you. Is that not in question that he would save you?
But also, I feel like she means it like in an emotional way. Like she knew he would want to catch her deep down.
That's definitely what she means.
Girl, no.
No, he's compelled.
He's just compelled. Yeah.
I was like, that was never a question that he wouldn't catch you. He's literally compelled by Klaus to protect you from harm. So, I don't know, girl. I think you're looking for hope wherever you can find it.
And it's just not there.
Which is fine. But of course, they look at each other. He like gently sets her down, and they're really just like looking at each other. He hasn't said anything, so maybe it did kind of give him like a shock of emotion. Yeah. I don't know. But of course we don't get to know because suddenly Alaric appears and he shoots Stefan with the vervain darts, knocking him out. Stefan falls to the ground and Alaric goes over to Elena saying that she does not look sober.
Nope.
And Elena's like, it's fine. We did what we needed to do. Let's just get him out of here. Yeah. So clearly the first part of the plan is done. Yeah. Now they just got to get him locked up.
Yep. Cut to the parking lot where we see Elena like open Alaric's trunk and they put Stefan in and Elena goes to get in the car. And we see over, like, against the building, Vicki is smoking and looks at them.
Yeah, she's watching.
She's watching, obviously.
Yeah.
And back, like, in a classroom, Matt has now arrived here. Bonnie is there. Matt is apologizing for letting Vicki in.
Yeah, he trusted her.
Yeah, he trusted her. Sad. Bonnie tells Matt, like, he needs to tell her exactly the ritual he did so that she can figure out how to send Vicki back. Mm-hmm. So this is another, like, cutting back and forth. Yeah,
lots of parallel storylines going on here because we go back to the parking lot where Alaric is closing the trunk after he set Stefan down, and he walks to, like, go towards the front of the car, but he kicks, like, a gas can, and there's gas all over, like, under the car. And he just assumes, like, oh, it's, like, the geniuses at the bonfire, like, just being crazy, like, doesn't think much of it. But we see Vicki, and she throws her joint on the ground, igniting all of the gas, and it, like, travels until it gets to Alaric's car, like, starting to burst everything into flames. And so we see Alaric's car is starting to burn. Elena is trapped inside. Alaric is, like, trying to get the door, but he can't get it to open. She can't get it to unlock. And so I'm just picturing Vicki constantly, like, relocking it. That's what
I was picturing, too. I wish they showed her, like...
just constantly locking the door, not letting Elena in. It's so funny. Which is kind of implied, because you see her, like, sitting in the driver's seat at one point. So it's implied that's what she's doing. Yeah, it's just funny. So Elena can't get out. Alaric can't get in. She's fully trapped. Elena needs one of those TikToks where it's like how to break the glass. Because Alaric grabs like a lacrosse stick or something and is trying, but it won't break. They can't get her out. She's fully like inside the car that is fully on flames now. And Vicki, we do see, is again sitting next to her, like, you know, obviously the creator of all of this situation. Inside the school, we see Matt. He lights a candle as Bonnie is saying that she found the spell that she needs to do and that can block out whatever magic Vicki is using to get her foothold. And so Bonnie takes Matt's hand and cuts his palm again, like starting, you know, the spell. So clearly they're going to try to shut her out. Meanwhile, Elena can't breathe.
Elena starts coughing from the smoke, obviously, in the car. And she, like, turns her head, and at this point she realizes, oh, Stefan's still in the trunk. So she calls out to Stefan, and Stefan wakes up just as, like, it's getting really dire. And Stefan kicks the trunk open, and obviously, like...
the whole door flies off.
The whole door. the whole trunk
Even
door.
Even with vervain, this guy is, like, juiced up.
It's true. Truly a testament to how much blood he's been drinking. And obviously, vampire strength. He just kicks the whole door off. But we then see, like... go back to Bonnie starting the spell, and then Elena starts moving to the back of the car with Stefan, and she like tries to get out with him, but Vicki tries to grab her so that she can't leave. And then we see, like, in the classroom where Bonnie is doing the spell, Vicki appears in the classroom, sort of like she was pulled into there. And Vicki's like, what is she doing? And Matt tells Vicki that Bonnie is like gonna send her back because
Matt made a mistake.
Matt made a mistake, and Vicki begs Matt to like make it stop Bonnie from doing the spell. And Bonnie tells Matt at this point that Vicki is only here because Matt is still open to her, obviously implying Matt has to let her go for Vicki to actually fully go away. And Vicki is begging him to like stop the spell, to keep her here, and she's crying. But Matt tells her, like, he can't let her hurt anyone. And she keeps pleading with him, but he tells her, like, she shouldn't be here. It's wrong for Vicki to be here. And she apologizes, and she's like, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to be alone anymore. And Matt says, neither did I, but I have to let you go. And he says goodbye, and Vicki disappears. And Bonnie goes quiet.
The whole room just quiet.
Vicki
gone.
Why
did they have to put Matt through that?
I know.
That was, like, awful of them. So unfair. So tragic. Again, Bonnie and Matt are two characters I think interesting to have in the scene together because they both always get the short end of the stick.
They really do, I know. It is interesting to put those two together. They have a lot more in common than I was thinking.
But just a tragic scene.
But
so obviously sad. In the nick of time, because we see in the parking lot, Alaric helps Elena out of the car, telling her to hurry up before the car blows up because it's on fire. And she's like, no, we have to grab Stefan. So they grab Stefan.
Alaric was like, whatever.
Leave him to die.
Leave him. He shoved me this morning.
This will solve one of our problems at least.
Sure.
But they do get Stefan's body out of there just in time. They rush away, and the car does explode in the parking lot. Which I was like, this school is like, we are never doing bonfire night again. The students set a teacher's car on fire and made it explode in the parking lot. We're never doing this again.
A crazy first day of senior year. 2 students missing. Yeah. Stefan shoving teachers, being insane. A car fully blew up. The new girl, Rebekah, who is like an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah, just insane. So funny. But of course, we cut forward a little bit to the Salvatore house where Elena and Damon are in his bathroom, and she has a burn mark on her cheek. And he's insisting to put cream on it. And she like wants to do it, but he says, Elena, you almost got barbecued. The least I can do is apply first aid. And he gently is like applying the cream to her cheek, and they're just staring at each other again. It's so intimate. They're so close together. It's obviously so like tender. And Elena says to Damon that he played his part well tonight. Obviously, you know, she says that like Rebekah was drooling all over him. Yeah. You know, I don't know that she's necessarily giving us jealous vibes per se, but obviously we know that is the undertone to this, this situation. And I think Damon kind of realizes that too, because he says, I thought you were too drunk to notice. And she says that she was faking most of it. And he says, so was I. And they share like a very specific tense look. Like the vibes are totally building. It's like you always want to see what would happen if, of course, Alaric didn't just walk in right after that, completely like killing the mood. Because it was getting so heightened. But yes, he walks in and asks Elena if she's ready to go. So that, of course, ends. Whatever could have happened right there. Because we have to check back in on the Lockwood house where Caroline is naked. Yeah, so she's Tyler.
Oh my God, these two. Yeah, Caroline is putting on her clothes. Tyler has like a blanket wrapped around his waist.
The scene kills me. Literally, put your clothes back on.
You took the clothes off in the room.
Yeah, they're in the room.
They're right there.
I know
they're on the ground.
Home, but your mother. You are a 17-year-old boy. Your mother lives there and could walk in at any moment. And you're just gonna walk around with the throw blanket on your nude body. Do not disrespect Carol like this.
Yeah. Oh my, Carol would never stand for this if she knew. That blanket is probably like $1 billion.
Yeah, it's some designer or something or other.
But yeah, Caroline is like getting dressed, obviously making to leave. Yeah. And Tyler remarks that Caroline is always running out on him. And Caroline tells him, you have to earn the overnighter, which I liked.
Yeah. Yeah, and he considers that a challenge.
Yes. Yeah, he considers that a challenge. And they kiss. And Caroline leaves at this point, and Rebekah arrives with, like, a weird boom sound. I was like, what is going on? But it's just Rebekah arriving. And she says she has a little present and sort of, like, steps out of frame behind, like, a door and then brings in a girl who has, like, a neck wound. And Rebekah rubs her fingers on the wound and licks them, obviously. They're going to feed on her. Yeah. And Rebekah then says, like, I think my brother would want you to indulge in this. In everything life has to offer.
Yep. And that's like such an important distinction there because he does deny her at first. He's like, no, I don't want any part of this. I don't want her. Like, just leave. And Rebekah says it would make Klaus happy. Like, this is what he would want. And Tyler immediately rushes over and bites the girl. So clearly the siring is a real thing.
It's real.
Like,
and
very
it's
immediately effective.
Also kind of suggesting Rebekah and Klaus already knew. Somehow, maybe.
I don't know if they do, but like she's definitely like wielding it in whatever way she can. So whether she's figured it out or is just suspecting, it's definitely present. So anyway, so we go back to our other like plot line that's been a through line of this episode. It's of course Catherine in the cemetery. Catherine is lighting candles when Michael wakes up, and he like apologizes for his outburst earlier, saying like she wouldn't have known, but he hasn't drank human blood and as long as he can remember. And he asks why Catherine woke him up. And she basically says, like, to kill Klaus. And he asks her to remove his chains, which he confirms to her at this point. He can kill Klaus, and he will kill Klaus if she lets him out. So she breaks the chains off of him and tells him, like, he needs some blood to get, like, the, you know, pieces moving again. And he tells her that he doesn't eat living things still. And she asks, like, what then does he eat? And he grabs her and pulls her into the coffin and bites her and starts feeding on her until we see her, like, clearly being drained of all of her blood. This always disturbed me. There's something so violating about being a vampire and being drained of your blood because, like, you're just going to wake back up again later. And could potentially have it done to you again. So there's something very weird and violating about it. So yes, so that is what Michael feeds on is vampires. The vampire who hunts vampires and feeds on vampires, I guess.
I also love this because it feels like an escalation.
Oh, totally.
Like someone feeding on vampires. Like we've never seen anyone even mess with the vampires.
Yeah, it's so intense. And immediately signals us of that warning that Anna gave of like, you'd be stupid to wake Michael is probably
She's
pretty
probably
true.
right.
This guy is not somebody to just like ally and be buddies with. Like, he is an actual threat who, yes, they can through him kill Klaus, but like, what's the risk factor of that? They have no idea yet. So it's a great scene. It's a great setup for when we eventually will get like Michael fully.
Yeah, definitely. Picking up pretty much right where we had left off in the Salvatore house, Elena and Alaric are walking to the front door, still about to leave, when Elena like kind of suggests to Alaric that Damon misses her or him.
Yeah.
And at this point, Stefan comes out from like the living room toward them, and he admits, like, he's like, oh, you did actually catch me by surprise, like, you got me earlier.
Yeah.
And Alaric is like, yeah, that was the point, obviously.
Yeah.
And Stefan says, like, hate this all you want, but Elena needs me. I'll always protect her. Oh, I was like, that was the one moment of this I hate. That Stefan reused that line of like, I will always protect Elena.
Again. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I hate it.
Only because Klaus has compelled you to.
Yeah, exactly. He obviously, it doesn't feel anything. But Elena is like, whatever. She's going to ignore him. So
they're going to leave.
Yeah, she's moving Alaric toward the door. And Elena like also starts moving toward the door. But Stefan tells her to wait. And he asks her why she didn't just let him die earlier. And Elena tells him that it's because she still has hope.
Yeah.
And Stefan asks, like, if she really thinks he'll still be able to find his humanity again. And Elena, again, she's just like, yes, I'm not giving up. Mm-hmm. And Stefan is like, do you have any idea how pathetic that makes you?
Yeah.
Of course.
Snarky.
Yeah, really. Yeah, just, again, pushing every button, like, doing everything he can to, like, be nasty to her. But Elena, like, gets him back. She's like, no, Stefan, it makes me strong. And she punches him in the stomach.
Yeah.
She had the stake cuff on. Like, the stakes actually eject this time. Like, which I love the, like, little, like, contrast of, like, in the beginning of the episode. Like, it parallels, like, like, her hope. Yeah. And, she stakes him. And she gives the cuff back to Alaric, looks at Stefan and like kind of smiles and leaves.
Yeah, they walk out.
Yeah,
it's a good scene. It's satisfying.
Very.
I think this scene is very
payoff.
Interesting too in like the humanity switch discussion. Like Stefan in general is probably one of our best examples and people to talk about in terms of humanity switch. But this scene is one that kind of gets me where it's like, yes, he's being terrible to her and he's waving a lot of things in her face, but it's also like, why did he bother to ask about like why Elena saved him? And like, I don't know, there are these little flashes where it's like, he is a very interesting example of how I think, yes, it's off. It's definitely off.
Yeah.
But he does have these weird glimmers of things where you're like, it feels like it might be fighting internally to come back on and he's suppressing it. Because I'm sure he had like a scare when he thought he was going to die. And realizing Elena was going to die, I'm sure that was like an almost flicker on moment.
Oh, yeah.
But, obviously he's repressed it enough that he's still maintaining having it off. But, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a very interesting Stefan No Humanity episode with...
Definitely.
There's, like, these flashes of, like, he doesn't really want to have it off, like, deep down. So, interesting.
It is, yeah.
But anyway, we'll have a lot to say about that, obviously, in the next, like,
4
episodes.
Sure. Yeah, I have so much more, I think, in the next episode,
But, of course, someone else who feels like they have their humanity off because they're heartless is
literally.
Jeremy Bing Gilbert, my least favorite person in this episode. We go to the Gilbert house where Jeremy is leaving a voicemail for Bonnie telling her not to ignore his calls and that they really need to talk. And of course, immediately after that, Anna appears. Literally couldn't hate Jeremy more right now. And it sucks because I've said it 1,000 times. I really do like Jeremy and Anna. I like them individually. I like them as a pair. But this is so bad. And even Anna right here is like, Jeremy, this is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, this is so wrong. I should not be here right now. Jeremy's like, tell me about it.
I hate him.
But he says the problem is he can't stop thinking about Anna. And she's like, I can't stop thinking about you either. So basically they're just always going to see each other because they're both constantly like calling on each other. And she sits on the bed next to him and raises up her hand like in a callback of what they did in episode 4. And they like go to touch again, to pretend to touch, and are surprised because they do actually touch and feel each other's hands, and they interlock their fingers, and they're asking like how this is happening, how they can feel each other. And it just ends because obviously there's no answer right now. But this is awful. This is obviously set up for what's going to happen in the next one, and I hate it.
Oh, I feel like they're cheating. Like,
they are cheating.
Like, it's already over. It's already over.
100%. This is already cheating.
Hate Jeremy. I have more to say.
Yeah, there'll be a lot to say about that one in the next one.
Yeah.
As will in the next scene. So let's set the next one up because this will be the whole next episode.
Yes, Damon is rolling up like, I'm giddy. Damon is rolling up the rug that the brunettes that Stefan killed ruined when, like, a vase flies off, like, a surface and breaks. And Damon is just like, oh, keep it up, Stefan. Of course, just thinking Stefan is terrorizing him every which way.
Yeah.
And Damon goes to pick up the vase and clean it up. When someone hits him so hard, he, like, flies backward, falls on the floor.
Yeah.
We see it's Mason.
Mason
Lockwood back. Love him. Damon, like, opens his eyes, but of course he can't see Mason yet. And Mason just goes, this is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
My fave returned.
Oh my God. The way I was smiling at my screen.
I know. It's so good.
Love.
This is another one of those episodes that the first time you watch it, you're like, what is going on? This is crazy. Like, the Anna Vicki surprise in the season 2 finale was obviously fantastic, but getting Mason back, you're like, yes, let's go. My fave. So
and it somehow only gets better.
Yeah, it only gets better. So stay tuned next one because you guys already know what's about to happen. Obviously, there's going to be so much with all of the ghosts coming back.
Yeah.
So Mason is the first one we get teased here.
Yeah. Love this episode. Let's turn it over real quick to our voicemail host. Hear what you guys think about this episode.
Hey, this is producer Shay. So while watching season 3, episode 6, Smells Like Teen Spirit, the comment I have is about the scene where the girls are walking up to their first day of senior year and they're discussing their boy problems. And after hearing them, I kind of got to side with Bonnie. Am I the only one in this situation? Let me know. Because as we all know, she's about to get cheated on, which seems like the worst to me. But I do get Elena's side because, you know, she did break up with her boyfriend and his humanity's off. But, like, I don't know. I kind of got to side with Bonnie. Does anyone else agree?
Thank you to our voicemail host. Love that. For this episode, we have, in our in memoriam section, a few deaths.
Yeah.
Stefan kills those 2 brunettes that I mentioned a minute ago.
Have to assume he killed the rest of them too, but we don't know.
True.
We'll give him 2.
We'll
give him 2.
We won't count him yet. We didn't see it. We can't be sure.
Yeah.
Catherine feeds the man to Michael.
Yes.
I think we can count that for Catherine.
Yeah,
he doesn't feed on her much.
She says, and it's Catherine's fault anyway. This is always the deal with Catherine.
Exactly.
Which is funny too, because she says to Damon that she did a gravedigger, a different mourner, and now this mourner. And so it's like she clearly killed many other people.
It's true. We could count even a few more.
But we'll just give her the 1 on screen, even though she already told us she killed 3. So we'll give her the 1.
Yeah, and then probably can assume that Tyler and Rebekah killed the little present girl,
true.
But I don't know if we want to count it. We don't see it.
I wouldn't count it because we don't know.
We also don't know which one it could have been.
Yeah, Rebekah might have just fed on her and sent her off. We don't know.
Yeah,
so
we'll leave that one out. So yeah, just the 3.
Yeah,
the 2
for
girls
Stefan,
and
1 for Catherine.
Yeah.
That leads us then to our out of pocket or things we would have done differently. This is a hard episode in that there is kind of like a few options here of like could be everything Tyler did in this whole episode.
Everything everyone did.
Yeah. Rebekah stabbing Damon with the marshmallow stick. I don't know. That was
gross.
Kind of out of pocket to me.
It was.
Or also maybe the too serious of Jeremy doing this to Bonnie is so awful.
Too serious. It's not even out of pocket. It's just like...
It's just wrong.
Just messed up. Yeah.
I know. So I'm like, I don't even know what to go. I think it's maybe Tyler is like the most out of pocket. And then it's just being ridiculous.
I kind of wanted to go with Stefan just shoving that guy and being like, watch it, dick.
That was so funny, actually. I just don't want to make it out of pocket because I'm like, it's funny.
It's funny. I know.
So
like, actually, it works.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Could
I don't
go
feel
with
strongly
either.
any which way.
Yeah, no. Let's just go with Tyler. He's so out of pocket.
Yeah,
even though it's not
Tyler.
Per se his fault.
Yeah.
But
maybe we'll run a poll. Tyler versus Stefan.
Oh, that's a good one. We've never done one for out of pocket.
Yeah, let's run a poll. You guys
we'll
can
do a poll.
choose who's more out of pocket this episode, Stefan or Tyler. So
Yeah.
we'll run that on our Instagram on Monday if you're watching this the day that it airs. So keep an eye out for that.
Love that. And for best quote for this episode, I mean, I liked a lot of the dialogue. There wasn't really anything that I was super like strongly felt about, but I did like when Damon told Elena, like, nobody's gonna hurt you, especially not my brother.
I liked that one too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones in this
I know.
one. I thought about that one. I also like Damon's funny one of, Stefan journaling, reading, shaping his hair. It's like such Stefan stuff. Yeah, such Stefan stuff.
Yeah.
And I also liked the one nice Tyler moment we get of everything I like about me is you. Very sweet thing to say. As a high schooler, hearing that from your boyfriend, you're like,
oh my God, he's so poetic.
He gets
yeah.
me. Yeah. So funny. So I don't know which one we want to do.
Let's go with Tyler because this is probably our last chance.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, unless it's something that's just crazy.
That's true. Our last sweet Tyler quote, probably.
So everything I like about me is you.
I like
what
that.
a sweet thing to say as a 17-year-old boy just pulling that out for your girlfriend. It's so cute.
It's cute. Yeah.
So Tyler, best quote.
Yeah.
And that leads us to our song of the episode.
Yeah,
the best song. This one is pretty well stacked. I think anything with like a high school party, anything that like really revolves around high school stuff tends to have a lot of good songs. And I have a lot of songs to bring up this one.
Yeah, I tried to limit myself, but I couldn't make any decisions. So I have 2 honorable mentions and 2 winners.
Oh, 2 winners?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have 5 songs in total.
Okay, okay.
Well, I might hit one of your songs of winners. I don't know. Let's see.
We'll see, maybe.
Because I've got 5 honorable mentions and 1 winner.
No, so 6.
4.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Sorry,
say.
I'm blending my numbers. 4 honorable mentions.
That's every
1
song.
winner. Well, so let me throw out
do
one
a
song.
couple. Yeah.
So I'll throw out one I think you didn't do. My Body by Young the Giant is an honorable mention.
I was gonna give that an honorable mention just
That's
because that song is so iconic to the era.
Oh, exactly. It's when Tyler, Rebekah, and Caroline are like practicing on the field and stuff. It felt so high school. It totally reminded me of that time. It was very like that indie rock music.
Yeah.
I really like that song, so I thought that was an easy honorable mention.
Yeah, I think so too. Mm-hmm. I'll just give my other honorable mention then. I hope it's not a winner, but I also really like This Too Shall Pass by OK Go.
Okay, yes, that's what I was thinking, and I was like, maybe that was your other winner. I wasn't sure
no,
go, so I didn't want to say it. But yes, that's the very first like returning first day of school one. Yeah, and I really liked that. This Too Shall Pass. I thought that was a good play.
I thought so too.
Again, hits like the era. I don't know what your other. I don't think you're gonna do this one, so I'm gonna say "Satellite" by The Kills, which is when Damon and Rebekah are flirting at the bonfire. That was my other honorable mention. Again, it fits the era, fits Vampire Diaries. They've played The Kills in some other episodes, so I thought that was a good one.
I know they did play The Kills in a few other episodes, but I didn't mention it because I was like, "There's too much going on in this episode already." Yeah. But it was good too. All the songs were good.
And I'm guessing my last honorable mention is one of your winners, which is Brick by Brick by Arctic Monkeys.
Yes, I tied that with winner. I just love that song. I love that it's playing at the bonfire. I just thought it was fun. And also so era appropriate. But I don't think they use any other Arctic Monkeys that I can think of either.
Not really,
so I was
significantly. I think Originals
glad we got a little one.
More.
Yeah, But it tied with me.
I like that song. I thought it was such an obvious that the other one was the winner.
I mean, I just love both songs so much. It was hard for me to choose. Yeah. But I do like the scene for the other one more. Yes, so that could make it a winner.
Yeah, it's of course the obviously already mentioned Stefan's Bloody Twister game. With Black Iron Lung by Gods of Macho. Yeah. Which I feel like is very high on our Vamping with Damon Salvatore playlist that we always talk about and listen to. That's linked in our bios if you want to check it out. Because it's all the fun, killing people, just raging and vibing songs. And that's like one of the big songs on there for me. So I was like, that's such an obvious winner. I love that song.
Yeah, I do really like that. And I think we can do that as the winner. Because I also just love that I mentioned this before, but that it's Stefan and not like a Damon or Klaus. I'm like, it's such a surprising little song for him.
Yeah, it is, and it's perfect. It's so that vibe. It's so Vampire Diaries. I really like it.
It's so good. Yeah.
So
let's go with
let's go with that as the winner. We'll be adding Black Iron Lung to our best song of the episode playlist. You can find that linked in our various bios and descriptions. We also have a playlist for all of the winners and honorable mentions for season 3. So all 6 songs or so that have been mentioned, you'll find in there now. That playlist is so stacked with songs.
If you want thousands of hours of music, go check out all these playlists.
Yeah, it's all linked in our bios and descriptions. We also have our Instagram and our TikTok where we post clips, memes, edits, all sorts of fun things. Polls like the Out of Pocket this week. There's always something fun there to interact and further get involved in the TRD and TBD communities. So join us there.
Yeah, and you can listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you can watch the video version on YouTube if you're not already doing that. So, join us there, one of those. And, tune in next week for Season 3, Episode 7, Ghost World.
Yeah, ghosts.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, ghosts. Thanks for watching and or listening to this one. Bye.